Hey guys, so today you and I are going to talk about full stack developers and backend developers. So let's get into it. So the question in question was, Frederick, I have a senior coworker who says that I should focus on the backend so that I can get really good at it, because if I try to be a full stack developer, I'm only going to end up being sort of good at two different things instead of being truly good at one thing. What are your thoughts about this? Well, my thoughts on this is that your coworker is an absolute idiot. And I'm very sorry to say that you have to work with this person, because this person seems to be incapable of basic logic. I know that sounds harsh, but I can't really be nice. I don't want to be nice about this, because that might be the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Because like, if you just think about it, like, conceptually, what in the world would make you even what in the world would make you believe that if I say that, well, if I just focus really hard on one thing, that I'm gonna be better at that thing than somebody who basically does the same sort of thing but has also spends time doing something else. I mean, to give you an analogy, that's like me saying that, well, if I just ride my bicycle to work every morning, I'm gonna be a better cyclist than a triathlete or someone who does triathlons. Uh, why in the world would me biking to the amount of time that I spend on something be equal to that I have more skill than somebody who spends less time? It's not down to that. It's down to how much resistance you're actually facing off against. How hard are you actually working at that thing? That's the thing that dictates it. It dictates things, and I know multiple instances because I work with coworkers like that every single day, and I've been working with coworkers in every single job where you have people who are exclusively focusing on one thing, and sure, they're good at that thing, but then you have full stack developers that are in some cases even better at that thing than the people who only focus on that thing. Have you has like I'm assuming that we're just also not considering that, well, if you are a senior full stack developer, odds are extremely high that you're going to be better at everything than a junior coworker who is just a front end developer or just a back end developer in this case. So I don't really understand where this claim comes from. There's absolutely no foundation in reality whatsoever to that this is true, because it really, really, really depends on a lot more complicated factors than, oh, you're exclusively focusing on that thing. Even if we were to go to the point and say that, well, we have two people who are focusing equally hard. So let's say that the backend developer just magically, and that's also impossible to measure, is as committed as pushing themselves as far as humanly possible within the backend space as, let's say, a full stack developer who splits that focus between two areas. Why is the assumption that the front end, the full stack developer is splitting that in attention equally? Do you know how a full stack developer usually works? Well, it's not a 50-50 split between front end and back end, because that's something that only an idiot who doesn't do that sort of work would think. It's actually split based on tasks. In other words, if the workload at the company looks a certain way, that's the thing that you're doing, and then the composition of the team is also going to matter. In other words, if I'm a full stack developer and I sit in a room full of backend developers, guess who's going to do all the front end work? For all intents and purposes, I'm going to be the front-end developer, and I might take a back-end task every now and then just because somebody else can't pick it up. Vice versa, if I'm in the group of front-end developers and they are not able to do the back-end work, hey, here's the back-end developer, even though I technically can do the work that they do as well. And so like and this is reality. This is how it actually looks, and I know that this is the way it works because I do this literally every single day, and my coworkers do it literally every single day as well. And so I'm just guessing here that this is an ego thing for some people, where we need to tell ourselves that, well, if I identify as this thing and I focus on say back-end work or something like that, then I'm just going to be then you need to you really need to tell yourself this lie that if you're just really dedicated to something, that you're going to be better than some other person that may not be as focused. Guys, I hate to break it to you, but there are people who are just better at everything that you care about. And what's even worse is that not only the thing that you care about, that's something that they're going to be better at, they're also going to be better at other stuff that you would like to be good at. That would be nice to have. They're just better. There are people every day who, and you mean on the other side of the spectrum, every single day, practically the vast majority of people are finding ways to justify not having to face the fact that somebody else is better than them. By everything from, if you see somebody who's really fit in the gym, well, they're obviously on steroids, to, well, it's somebody's really successful in business, they have to be a bad person because nobody can make that much money without being an asshole, right? And this is the same sort of bullshit, because I really want you to hear me when I say, just think about it. Why in the world would you deciding to focus on one thing and spending all your time doing that thing mean that you're going to be better at that thing than somebody who's not spending as many hours? It's the same thing with athletes. The best athlete is not necessarily the person who is going to put in the absolute max amount of hours. It's about the person who has to, one part is genetics, and the other part is about the quality of the training that they're doing. Because otherwise, I mean, then I'll just start, I don't know, going and having a light jog 5-7 days a week, and hey, next up for me is going to be the Olympics. So what I want you to take away from this is that if somebody tells you that you shouldn't be a full stack developer because you're just going to be bad at full stack at backend and front end development, you should pick a specialization, and you don't want to do that, just ignore that idiot, because there's absolutely nothing that states that if you become a full stack developer that you're going to be worse at any one thing than the people who are focusing on exclusively on that one thing. What matters is how much are you pushing yourself? What are the challenges that you're facing in your work? How much, what is your fitness level? And sure, if you want to be equally good at both of these things, it's going to require more work for you than if you specialize in one thing. But remember, there's a finite amount of things that you can learn where in order to do a job, to set the satisfaction of the people around you, to your employer and other team members and so forth. And the dirty little secret is that even if you focus only on backend, you have there are tons of developers who just learn those core skills, and that's something that you're going to learn in your first, I promise you, you're going to learn most of that stuff in your first 5 years of development. And after that, some people don't continue growing, and that's the thing that's going to dictate if you're going to be better or not. Because if you don't continue that growth, well, even if I am a full stack developer, I'm going to be able to catch up to you, because it's a finite amount of space. If I continuously push myself, I'm going to be able to catch up to you and go beyond you. And in some cases, I'm just going to be inherently better at that thing than you, because my aptitude for programming is higher. So I hope you can just let this go and actually understand that if you want to be a full stack developer, you are not doomed to being worse than the front end developer or the back end developer. You can be better and better than these people. It comes down to your personal investment. How much are you pushing yourself? That's the only thing that matters. Have a great day.